Here we go. Welcome to another edition of This is Mappa on the Shoot Defense Network. I just spray the whole heap of... Yeah, anyway, I'm Stel. I've got Roy and also Kyri from the Cyprus Mail. Gobelia, how are we doing? It's been a while. International break has killed us, hasn't it? Kyri, you had a lovely international break, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, hi, everyone. And
Hi.
I had a good international break because I wasn't watching the senior team lose away to
Torture, mate. Torture.
No, I was lucky enough to attend the U21 game in Larnaca at the AEK Arena, which was actually fairly decently attended. I think there was like maybe 500 or 1,000 people watching the kids. It was
more than a home game for AEK then.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But no, it was a free attendance as well, so it was a good initiative to get people to watch the U21 side. Okay, weak opposition in Liechtenstein. No offense to Liechtenstein, but I mean that's the reality. But no, I found a few things interesting about the kids. Firstly, is Okas, who played really good football, and also he switched formation 3 times during the game. Very proactive manager. Back 3 with Gerges, obviously AEL's Gerges, the son of the manager as well, and in central defense, flanked by a non-traditional centre-back in Hector Kyprianou from Leyton Orient, who actually had a really interesting game. At some point, he was played at right wing back by Okas, not to fulfill traditional right wing back duties, but mostly to occupy the space vacated by whoever was playing right wing at the time they were tucking in. So Kyprianou was kind of like keeping the width going. Then he was shifted at number 6, where he usually plays for Leyton. No, it was an interesting game. They scored a really interesting free kick with a little trick set piece played short and then shot from just outside the box. I won't tell you where I've learned this, but apparently Okas showed them a video from a few years ago from, I think, a League One game in England where this free set piece was taken as an example of what to do, which I found quite interesting, and it does speak well of Okas that he's researching and showing players things like this. So yeah, the kids played really well.
Brilliant, fantastic. That's good to hear, man. I know Gago got on the score sheet, scored twice, didn't he? The Omonoia striker. So we're pretty pleased about that as Omonoia others. And Kyprianou has he left Leyton Orient? Or is he still there?
No, he's still there along with Rule Sotiriou.
Sotiriou, yeah, because he left Spurs, didn't he? Or Spurs released him.
I'm not entirely sure how that was. Yeah.
But has he gone to Oxford City? Someone's gone to Oxford City. One of our players. I can't remember.
Maybe Rule was on loan before. I can't remember. But at the moment, they're both at Leyton.
Oh, they're both at Leyton. Okay, wonderful, excellent. There you go. Something to look forward to then, because the national team is at a pony, to be honest. But let's not go into them, because I could go on all day about the head coach and his very archaic and shit's tactics, pardon my language. But anyway, right, let's talk about the Protathlima then. And Kyri, your team, 2 wins from 2 games. Apollon beating Aris 1-0. It was classed as an away game, but it was at the Cypriot, wasn't it? But with 10 men. I watched most of that game, in all fairness, and up until you guys took the lead, it was a bit of a cagey game. Obviously, Girago got sent off, but the second half, it was all Aris. You guys were trying to hit them on the counter-attack, but it's almost as if it was all huff and puff with them. They didn't really cause you many problems. I don't remember the Midruma having many saves to make. And to be honest, it became quite predictable. The ball was played through the middle, and it was just mopped up every time. So first of all, happy with the result, and secondly, where do you guys go from this? Because obviously Mavrias has come back into the fold now. He came off the bench, and it's looking pretty good so far for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it's one of those things where at the moment, Apollon, like it's only about putting points on the board, basically. We haven't really played super well this season so far. So it was vital to get the win by any means necessary, which this was a case of that, especially after the red card. I'll just say that the red card was 100% correct. Hambos Kiragu misjudged the 50-50. He thought he would get there. I'm not sure what went through his mind, but it was 100% a red card. I saw some Apollon fans were kind of like angry at the ref. They conceded that it was a red card, but they were saying that he was inconsistent with his strictness. I don't know about that. I thought it was a straight red, and there was a similar red elsewhere during this round, but we'll get to that later maybe. It was surprising because actually after the red card, we had some combination, especially building from the back, that we didn't even see in the game against Aachen, where we scored 4. We didn't have a player sent off. So there's bits and pieces of the team kind of like gelling very, very slowly, especially with certain players coming into the fold, like you said. It was good to see Mavrias coming on. So there's more options, especially on the right wing. Aris, like you said, they were threatening to do something, but when they got to the final third, it didn't really click for them. They had 2 huge chances, but neither of them was the result of organized play. 46 minutes, Mariusz Stepinski, long-range shot, hit the bar. And then 93rd minute, if I'm not mistaken, Roncaglia, left foot shot, hit the post. Definitely stressed everyone watching, every Apollon fan watching at the time. But yeah, like you said, they didn't really apply too much pressure on Apollon. It was, if something would come, it would be from a cross or something chaotic, like you said.
And I think Sikorski was their main threat up front, wasn't he, if I'm not mistaken? But again, balls straight down the middle, mopped up, no problem. It became very predictable. But look, if you look at Addis, they've brought in a lot of players this summer, as most Cypriot clubs done, but they've really gone aggressive with their transfer policy. They brought in Danny Pacheco, apologies, who was at Liverpool one time. And he came on as a sub and then he was substituted. So I think that's the biggest slap in the face that any player could get. I've spoken to my friend Rodri Giggs about this and the other day, funny enough, and I think that's one of the biggest. It's like being spat in the face if you're a footballer to be come on as a sub and then be substituted. So I don't know whether that was tactical or whether he just wasn't physically up for it, because he joined quite recently, didn't he? In all fairness.
Yeah, it's difficult to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a fitness related thing. He's not had the most healthy career in general, and yeah, like you said, he joined recently. Maybe the player, the coach, or both of them overestimated how much he could offer during the game. But yeah, to be fair to Aris as well, like our goal had to have 2, I wouldn't call them mistakes, but bad defending by 2 players in the same play. So when Iliev did the diagonal out wide to Kamas, there was a misinterception by the Aris right back, and then Rangelo Yanga had to beat Schindefeld in the air, and Schindefeld didn't really cover himself in glory for that aerial challenge. Granted, he's 36, 37 years old, so there's that element as well. So it was a good goal, but like I said, Aris had to have 2 players underperform in the same passage of play. So I think they'll get better as well with time, Aris.
Well, another side from Limassol got an emphatic victory at the weekend, and that was AEL, who destroyed Buffalo 4-0. Buffalo won their opening game 4-0, so their goal difference is 0. But Stefan Shepovic stole the headlines with 2 fantastic goals. One volley, it was more like a bicycle kick. This is a kick volley, wasn't it? But the second goal, for me, his second goal was absolute sublime. I don't know if you've seen it, Kyri, but the way that he brought the ball down and then finished in literally the space of a split second, absolutely phenomenal. And Yele scored. Mazurek, is that his name? Is that how you pronounce it? Mazurek?
I think. Your guess is as good as mine, but
Mazurek
so.
Scored a lovely header. So Yeah, it's emphatic victory for AEL. But to be honest, there was one moment where the game was 1-0 where Buffon had a goal disallowed for handball. And this is where the handball rule becomes a bit of a grey area, because the ball kind of rolled up onto his arm. It's not as if he moved his arm out to control it. It just hit his arm. He knew nothing about it. The finish was great, but then it took forever and a day for them to decide that it was a handball. But that, for me, was the turning point of the game. What did you make of it?
For me, it was not a handball for two reasons. One, like you said, it rolled upwards from a first touch, and second, it presumably hit, I don't know, like a hair of the left arm, which was not even under his control because it was grabbed by the defender.
Exactly, he was holding on to him. Yeah,
he was holding on to him. So I mean, I'm not saying this because and I do think that, in all honesty, they would still win, even if it went 1-1 early in the game. But I think it was a poor decision by the ref to disallow the goal.
Roy, AEL have brought in quite a few players this summer, but they've been very smart as far as I'm concerned. Maya, they've used the money from his departure to bring in some quality players. Cito Riera is obviously a stand-up player. Bruno Santos, Stefan Shepovic, as I mentioned, scoring a brace. We know they got knocked out of the European qualifiers a few weeks ago. And, you and I were singing Kerkez's praises last season. Do you think they can mount a serious challenge this season? Because last year, they fell a bit short near the end, and that was probably because of their lack of goal-scoring prowess. But now in Shepa, Volume 2, I'm not going to call him, Version 2, I'm not going to call him the Shepovic because Omonoia have got him. But Stefan is, he looks like a right snip at however much they spent on him.
Yeah, he's actually the hot Shepa at the moment.
He's the hot Shepa, yeah.
He come the hot Shepa. Yeah, I mean, as a more general thing I notice is that obviously the 12 teams makes the league a lot more competitive. Every other week, top 6 are going to be playing against each other, as we saw. They're not going to be any easy games. AEL reminds me a bit of Omonoia, in the sense that they kept the manager, they kept the core of players. Yes, they lost Danilo and Mae, but they seem to work a little bit in the background without them being really, I'm not going to say no one paid attention to them, but they lost 9 players, which is a lot, but they brought in some good players. We forgot to mention Pele, who I hear the best about him. That guy Pele, who apparently came in to substitute Danilo. I heard very good things about him. I think it's early, but if someone put a gun to my head and told me, you have to choose the 2 or 3 teams that are going to be competing till the end, I would definitely have AEL as one of the 3 teams. I might be right, but I think that Omonoia, AEL, and I don't know the third team. I'd like to say Anorthosis, but I don't know. Like AEK was good as well. Apollon is trying. APOEL, the like cockroaches. They don't die.
They can survive a nuclear blast.
Yeah, so I mean, I say that like as a compliment that they're cockroaches. But yeah, you never know. You never know how it's going to be. But if I had to put my money on 2 or 3 teams, definitely add AEL, because they're a serious team. They give me the impression that even if they have bad spells or periods, either in a game or for some time, they're going to find the character. They built the character. They obviously said, came out straight and said, we want both titles. Whereas the last couple of years, they were like playing a bit of hide and seek. We'll see, we'll win every game, and then we'll see, and we'll take it step by step. But now they came out from the beginning, said, we want both titles, and we're going for them. But okay, you need to have a lot of character. You need to have depth. Obviously, they're out of the European games now, so they can concentrate in the league and the cup. So definitely, yeah, IL is a team to watch, and that's my respect.
Kyri, one last thing on IL. Last season, your Apollon, I believe, probably relied a little bit too much on Dingini in terms of getting them goals. While the goals were spread out over the season, Dingini was that focal point. Do you think IL are at risk at doing the same with Shepovic? Because we've seen how good he is. And for me, he's a huge upgrade on Maya, not because, you know, of the name, but because he's that typical striker that plays off the defender's shoulder. While Maya is probably more mobile and quicker off the ball, Shepovic has got that in-game intelligence. And we've seen from his finishing that right foot, left foot, header, he's got everything as a striker.
If it was any other team, I would say yes. But IL, like last season, IL and Omonoia were the only two teams that I saw that they were deliberate with how they played, that they tried to control games, and you saw how they wanted to build up, how they wanted to transition in the attacking third, and how they wanted to create chances. Whereas Apollon and Orthosi, it was a bit chaotic, inconsistent, kind of relied on the brilliance of certain players, like you mentioned, the Guinea. But I don't know. I got a lot of goals from a lot of players last season, despite Maya being the obvious threat. But I think, I don't know. Obviously, he has had a great start to the season, Chebovic, but I'm waiting to see if this is like an upgrade on Maya, like you said. On the pitch, I really rated Maya last season. I thought he was an amazing player, and they got the money that they probably deserve to get for him, if not less than they could have gotten in a different market, not a post-COVID market, if you want. So I think it's not too dissimilar. I don't think it's kind of like tipping the scales for IL in terms of like having one crutch for them. Obviously, they also lost Danilo, but like Roy said, they've got Pele for that. So I don't know. I think there's the attacking structure in the team that in the event where Chebovic can't play, be from injury or suspension, I think they can find the goals from elsewhere.
Absolutely. Right, on to the three other big clubs in Cyprus who were bantered off this weekend. Let's start with APOEL, the kings of banter, should I say. Banter Boel, I should call them really, Apollon. They suffered a 1-0 defeat to Olympiacos, who bounced back following their opening day defeat. And I tell you what, boys, this game was very similar to their opening game. And by that, I mean, it was almost a carbon copy, the way that they attacked APOEL as a whole. They looked more threatening from dead ball situations. Okay, Natal, who's rejoined the club, he had a decent game. But the rest of them were just dark. Vilidaya had a header that went wide. Who else? Maglitsa came on for Ogriashvili, who apparently has COVID. I don't know how true that is. He had a massive temperature and then they took him off. He came back from international duty, was unwell. They played him and then they took him off, and now he's being tested for the Rona. But let's quickly talk about Olympiacos, Kyri, because, you know, as I said, they bounced back from the opening day loss. Another club that's lost some very, very good players. But the winning goal from Edgar Sally, he made a 50-yard run from the halfway line. No one picked him up. This was, like I said before about ball watching, this was the epitome of ball watching. APOEL, too busy looking at the ball. This guy made a 50-yard run, not one midfielder chasing him, not one winger chasing him, and he had the freedom of the Ghazibi to head it in. It was a great finish as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's funny you use the term ball watching, because in my notes, I use that word both for APOEL and Anorthosis, which I guess we'll talk about later. But no, it was a really good goal, and it was kind of like an aesthetically pleasing goal as well, because it was the first pass, stretching play to the left, and then there was the diagonal to the right, and then back again to the opposite side for the header. For the finish. A really good goal, and yeah, like you said, all it takes is a bit of off the ball movement, and APOEL, the defense is nowhere to be found. Very focused on who's in possession, not so much what movement is happening around them. So that's definitely something that Avusti has to address as much as he can, and in the next few rounds. Although I will say that if I was an APOEL fan, I mean, after this round, I would be slightly less worried than the first game, and also slightly less worried than an Anorthosis fan, and I'll come back to it later as well. But the worrying thing, though, for APOEL is the quality of chances in the first half was vastly higher than in the second half. They lost composure. They lost proper decision making. It was very like long range shots, or like on the edge of the box. Like you said, Natel tried.
Is that pressure though, Kyri? Is that pressure finally getting to them now?
It could be.
Because they've been hiding behind managers for the past couple of seasons, and now they've got a brand new manager. It's his first game. It's not as if they. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's either that. I mean, composure and decision making I split them into two things kind of, and you can, on a different day I'll give you a different ratio for how much either one plays a part. But it's you either have it, composure as a mental attribute as a player, and then the second thing is fitness. So the more fit you are, the easier it is for you to make the proper decision on the pitch. So the more the season progresses, I think all teams are going to become fitter. So I think APOEL will improve at least a little bit on that regard. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I'll say for Olympiacos, yeah, they've weathered APOEL's attacks, but at the same time, they can say that they should have had a penalty in the second half. After APOEL started well in the second half, in the 73rd minute, there was I think for me, it was a clear penalty when Sali from the right-hand side, as from Olympiacos' attacking side, he cut back to Kingsley Safo, and he was clipped from behind, and I'm not sure why the penalty wasn't given. And also, APOEL should have had a yellow card for a dive on Shabak.
That's right.
I think.
Yeah. But we're going to have APOEL fans on our cases now saying, come on.
No. No, I mean, APOEL, by all accounts, could have equalized in the first half or taken the lead before the goal. They had some good chances. Like you said, Natel was at the heart of things for them throughout the game. But yeah, there was a drop-off in the quality of chances in the second half. Something to think about for them.
Well, in fact, after... What am I talking about? During the last show, we were talking about Bursa and whether he was going to stay, whether he was going to go. We suggested that possibly, Avusti was going to come in, which he did. And it hasn't made any difference. I didn't see an Avusti side there. Do you know what I mean? I didn't see an aggressive press. I didn't see building from the back. I didn't see confidence on the ball. Okay, Lucas Souza was okay. I think he had an okay game in all fairness. But then again, that Olympiacos midfield, they're so physical, they're so quick. They're not going to give you time on the ball. And Petrakis Junior, I should just call him Junior, is a chip off the old block, really. But what I want to ask you guys, and again, I don't want this to turn into an APOEL post-mortem again, but how serious is the issue with the club now? Because if you saw at full time the images of Dalashvili on his knees, you had Vinicius walking off, you had Skufet just looking absolutely perplexed, Theodoro hands on his face, and then he was on the floor. These continuous losses must really take its toll on these players, because if you look at the stands, absolutely empty. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And this isn't me being patronizing. I could not believe how little fans were in that stadium.
Yeah, I think this is where the lack of stability comes into play as well, because when you fire a manager every, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, what's the message sent there? That there's no room for errors. There's no room to grow. There's no room to learn. Obviously, APOEL usually switch managers faster than they switch players, but that's only because of the transfer window. I think if there was a 12-month transfer window, Petridis probably would have been switching players every 2 months. But yeah, I mean, the board has to, if they feel like these players and this manager, have what it takes to improve, They should, come to the front, shield the players, tell the people, tell the fans, listen, we're going to give this squad, a chance. We're going to give them some patience, and please support us during this time, because you can't, fans in Cyprus as well, but especially like APOEL fans who've been used to like a lot of success during the previous decade. We are in mid-September. They're probably already thinking 2.5 months until the January transfer window opens. I'm 100%
Surely
certain.
not. Well, they're players or just everyone in general?
No. I'm talking about fans here.
All right.
And they're probably thinking, who's this guy they brought in? Who's this guy here? Who's this guy here? So the board has to be proactive here and give the players some as much peace of mind as they can. Obviously, the fans have to be a bit more understanding as well. But it's only the second round of the season, and I think we might have discussed this in the preview show as well. This is not the same league as it was 4 years ago, 5 years ago. The quote unquote mid-table teams are quite strong now.
Oh yes.
Every team can hurt you. So it'll take time. I think AEL and Omonoia, but Omonoia are a more well-funded side, shall we say, despite the debt. But AEL, they gave Kirkis some time. They brought in some plays on the cheap, but he has had that time to kind of like mold the side into how he wants to play. Same thing with Omonoia. Apollon did that for a little bit with Avusti. They did give him some time. But yeah, I think there's not much to do for APOEL except be patient and just hope that the manager implements his ideas,
Mm-hmm. Roy,
sorry, I just want to say something about, APOEL's playing against Apollon. Next game is with Apollon. And I don't know who they're playing after the game with Apollon, and then they're playing against Anorthosis away. And the money they invested, even Petridis admitted it a few days ago, that he said, the financial is not easy, and we did, spend a lot more than what was expected, because there's 5 teams representing, 5 teams are going to be in Europe and 2 of them in the Champions League. So in their scenario that they don't win against Apollon, and like I said, I don't remember who they're playing after Apollon, but then it's Anorthosis away. It seems to me that, the season might end a lot earlier than what they're going to have to sort of reschedule, reassess the targets, So with the money they spent, another year away from European football is going to be disastrous for them, and that's going to be a lot of pressure for everyone.
Mm. And you asked about their next fixtures. They've got Bayek before Anorthosis, which you'd think they'd win, but then after Anorthosis, they're at home to Ethnikos, which ain't going to be easy. Okay, Ethnikos haven't started the season well, but after they got Aris, they got Doxa, AEL, AEK, and then Omonoia before Bafo. So it's not going to be easy. And as Kyri said, it's not the same league as what it used to do. In fact, we spoke about it yesterday or the day before. It's a more competitive league. Teams do their homework. They're more advanced than what they used to be. They've got sports science involved now. You've got all sorts of stuff, different training regimes. It's not like what it used to be back in the day, and teams are not going to have it easy, And the final thing I want to ask you, Roy, because I wanted to ask you this earlier, same sort of thing with Kyri, though. You speak to a lot of APOEL fans. You got a few who are your mates and have been long-term APOEL fans. They're not like 15, 16-year-olds on TikTok that abuse me for some videos that I do, right? But what are they saying about this regime, and why are they not attending matches? As I said, I'm still stunned. You look at the old Champions League games, they had thousands. The Ghazi B was packed. Now, you're looking at it, I'm thinking, where is everyone? It's like they've gone to the Periptero or something. They're sitting outside playing Tabli as a Gafenio.
The truth is that APOEL fans has always been, I don't know if the word translates well in English, but the most spoiled. They don't have a lot of loyal fans,
Right. Okay.
like other teams. I mean, for the
So they're like Johnny Come Lately's glory hunters.
sort of. I mean, okay, I'm not going to say they have 2,500 people that are going to go to watch their team no matter what. Okay, but APOEL made a lot of new fans the last 15 years, 15 years. But they're not like Omonia fans or even AEL fans that are going to go there because they love their team. And Omonia was first selling tickets when we were 5th and 6th and 4th. And APOEL had like back-to-back championships, and they went to Champions League, and we ranked 5th, and we had more tickets than APOEL. So I don't know what it is. A lot of people don't like the Petridis' regime. Some others think that, you know, it's Karta Opadu. Others are, there's many reasons we can talk about it, but generally I think that the APOEL fans are not the most loyal, in the sense that if the team's not doing well, they're like, you know what, fuck you, you know, I want my team to be first, and unless they're first, I'm not going to come watch you because this is how I punish you. Whereas Omonia, είμαστε αρνιά, ας πούμε. Να πάμε για με, έλα Ομόνια μου, έλα αγάπη μου, άτε μάνα μου, άτε χαρώσε. It's different. It's a different mentality, and they always want more. They're insatiable. They're greedy. They always want more and more and more and more.
If I can add something to that, yeah, I think the fan card thing is probably a bit stronger, especially with the quote unquote ultras of APOEL. I think APOEL and Apollon probably had the biggest number of fans who don't go. NIL, who don't go because of that reason, and that's its own, you know, topic of discussion, which I'm not going to get into. But there's been some suggestions that the scheme might be revised or scrapped or updated. There's a lot of hearsay, so I'm just going to wait and see what happens. But there is a possibility that mid-season or next season we might see a rise in attendances for these 3 clubs, and probably all clubs as well. But like, and also I would say, when Roy was saying about Omonia probably having higher attendances, I would say to their what's the word, like to their credit, Anorthosis also have quite high average attendances as well. But there's an emotional aspect with Anorthosis, you know, refugee club, and there's that aspect as well. So they have quite a loyal fan base as well, I would say.
Yep. Splendid. All right, we mentioned Anorthosis, the goddess, as we like to call them. They suffered a 2-0 loss at Doxa, down to 10 men. And I tell you what, Kyri, I've in the past I've called Anorthosis a rugby team because they're so physical, but there was nothing rugby about them the other day because they lacked discipline. They were like headless chickens. I'm sorry, that's just how they were. They were all over the place. Delatic was sent off. Vada was chasing shadows. He didn't have the best of debuts. But Sadiq, another 2 goals for this guy. He's an utter machine, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think I jinxed Delatic completely, because when I was talking to the guys from the Belgian football podcast, and I did mention him as because he was a promising player at AEK Athens, and on he comes and gets a second yellow with his team a player up. Very, I don't know what he was thinking when he jumped with the elbow so high. Definite
frustration. It's got to be frustration. That's the only. He wasn't getting a kick, really, to be fair, was he?
Yeah, no, I think for sure. And also like we said before, the Tanzania red card for Doxa, that was very similar to Hambos. Like a 50-50, I don't know, rush of blood to the head, studs up on the shin, straight red, very good decision. But yeah, like we said before, with a lot of ball watching as well. Like they sit deep when the opponent is attacking, but they just watch them pass the ball around them. It was very, very weird. But especially as well with the midfield not giving any real protection. Like you're supposed to press the man in possession so that the defensive line can mop up behind you. But at the last penalty, which was again correctly given, I mean, it was so easy. They just like walked through them, and he just held them back. But yeah, Sadiq, really good goal for the first one. Good crossfield pass across the goal mouth. But like, again, I think I mentioned this during the first round. I don't understand these teams. They sit deep, so narrow, no defensive width, completely neglecting the second post, the far post. Again, like I said before, all it takes is a bit of off the ball movement, and it's a tap in. But I'm not taking anything away from Sadiq. Really good finisher, really good awareness, really good movement. But yeah, they were just watching him.
What is it about Ketsbaya's teams? I'm asking you both this question because he loves them to like really get stuck in, and he signed an utter nutcase in Vardar, who, as good as he is, Christ, he's as Roy said, he's a ticking time bomb. You said it on the last show, and he didn't have the best of games, but it seems to be like a trait of Ketsbaya's. He wants these bastards in the team. I don't get it. It completely disjoints everything. Prior to Vardar coming in, I actually took Anorthosis serious as a top 4 team, but now he's here. As good as he is, I just see a liability there. I really do. I don't know what you guys think.
Okay. I'll quickly say that Anorthosis have had a Jekyll and Hyde start to the season for me. Because in Europe, they played well. Like their wins were deserved wins. They showed grit, they showed initiative, they created chances, but the league displays, my God, like huge difference, huge. But in terms of like getting bastards in, yeah, I mean, that's one aspect, but also, okay, you want a bastard on the pitch, hard tackling or I guess aggressive, determined player, but Vardar is an off the pitch issue. So for Ketsbaya, I think in that particular
that's even worse, isn't it? Surely
it's for sure worse, but it's the gamble is you're getting a player who would never come to Cyprus at this age, so it's a huge lottery ticket, I guess. But I'm surprised he keeps trying it though. It doesn't. I mean, I would say it doesn't always work, but it rarely does. I mean, the odds are against you in terms of how much this is going to work, because it's that meme from I can't remember the show, but it's like, oh, it didn't work for those guys, but it might work for us. It's that delusion where yeah, I don't know. It's a gamble. It's definitely a gamble. And I don't know if it's an indication of poor scouting, because how can you always go for the Greek leagues discarded players? It does work sometimes. Like Apollon last year got a really good player from PAOK. It worked. It was he played well.
Biseswar.
Yeah, Biseswar. But it was it's 1 every 10. Yeah,
true. Roy, very quickly on Anorthosis there, mate. Can you see them doing anything this season? Obviously, they won the cup last season. Quite a stout victory against an Olympiacos team, which I believe deserved to win the cup, in all fairness. But yeah, what is it about Ketsbaya and these players? Because when the 3 Georgians left, I thought, hang about, they've got a bit of a cohesive, happy camp. And now it just seems that, bad habits are back again.
Okay, I think that Anorthosis is signing Vardar, and I think they after they went through in Europe, they signed two players. It was Vardar and I don't remember who the other one was. So they've added quantity. And
Popovic? Was it Popovic?
Yeah, maybe I'm not sure, but you know, we always say that Omonoia, AEL, because they kept the backbone and a core of players and the same manager with Gerkes and Berg, they're very similar teams. But, you know, Anorthosis with Getspaya is his third season starting as a manager. But every year they seem to be different. You don't know what to expect from them. Like from AEL, we said, you know, we sort of can tell how they're going to be playing. Omonoia, similarly. Anorthosis, you don't know. Okay, they've added Christodouloulos is a good player. They've added that the striker
Paul Lafferty.
Paul Lafferty. They've got Warda, they've got Deledic, who is good. They've got some experienced Cypriot players who can give depth and they understand and they play a role in the dressing room as well. But let's also not forget that Getspaya is also a ticking bomb all the time. So having Warda there, I'm going to disagree that it's just off the pitch Warda. When he's playing sometimes, like in Greece, he used to like talk to the fans, the opponent's fans, like they would swear at him and he would like answer back or whatever. Don't do that, man. Or in training, he'd get angry and he'd like kick the balls and stuff like that. So, sorry, I don't know if, like Kyri said, it's going to work for them or it's not going to work. What I do know is a really good player, but I don't know how much of a liability he can be. The team that wants to win the title, because you remember when we had Clayton on the No Choftes, and you know, when I was in Larissa, no one really cared what I did. They just said, you know, as long as you're playing well, don't care.
So Max, yeah,
you can you can go out, you can drink, you can come late in training, it doesn't matter. But then when he went to Panathinaikos, they told him, listen, man, this is not Larissa. This is not whatever. You're here. We're a professional team. We want to go for the title, and you can't continue doing stuff like that, you know. But you know, Warda played for Bauk, so I don't know if Getspaya is the guy that's going to be able to, you know, discipline him and you know, be his
tame him,
yeah, or whatever. But I think Anorthosis. I don't know. Anorthosis always has this same pattern of doing well till January and then they sort of mess things up, or I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, but I think they do have quite a decent squad to fight till, I don't know if it's the end or towards the end, or I don't know, but they're going to be there. I don't see them being behind like 20 or 25 points. I mean, they're going to be close.
Okay. Yeah. Well, girls just don't give Amir Vardy your number. That's what I'm saying. Right. Let's quickly talk about AEK against Omonoia and Nicosia. We covered that game at great length yesterday, Roy, on the No Choftes podcast. Huh?
Yeah, you said the game against
AEK Omonoia
in Nicosia.
Huh? What did I say? You
said in the game in Nicosia. Maybe you went Omonoia Nicosia.
Yeah, I fucked that one up, didn't I? See, that's how much that game fucked me up. AEK Larnaca against Omonoia in Larnaca with 500 fans, apparently. I'm joking. So yeah, AEK beat Omonoia 2-1. It was the return of Matt, or return of the Matt, should I say. As I said, you know, Roy and I covered this game at great length on the No Choftes podcast yesterday. Kyri, I'm going to give you the floor for this one because I think I'm burnt out from talking about Omonoia's defensive display, the central defenders, Adam Lang's inability to head the ball. I could go on all day. I'm not going to do it again. My friend, it's all yours. Roy, you can chime in as much as you want. So I'm just going to kick back and just listen.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, you've covered this at length. So I'm not going to talk too much. I mean, I have just very few notes that, well, the main thing, the way AEK started the game, first 25 minutes, it was all AEK. Created tons of chances before. I think the first good chance for Omonoia was I think a free kick on 28th minute.
I think Shepherd had a header that went wide before that.
Oh yeah,
and then Zachariou had a shot that hit like licked the bar, licked the post.
Well, the one that made the goalkeeper work was Yordi's free kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the way I got playing, you'd expect an Orthodoxy to be playing, as in start high up the pitch, aggressive, emit players forward, try to score. But I struck a fairly good balance between taking shots, but also not taking them from absolutely anywhere. They were waiting to be in fairly okay positions on the pitch. That being said, I mean, I found it interesting that Jonis, of all people, had a header, like a chance from a header in the second half. Obviously, the Matt Derbyshire goal where he didn't celebrate, it was almost like a reflex. Like it wasn't even a second of I'm gonna celebrate. No, I shouldn't. It was like immediate, very respectful. Yeah, it was. I found the defending there odd. I would say. I don't know. There was an element of defenders in general kind of like following the line of play with the ball. So when the ball is cut back, they're kind of like caught out of position. Sorry, because the ball was crossed from the byline almost, and then Derbyshire was basically alone. And then the defender had to retreat back towards him, but by then it was too late. He was completely unbothered when the cross found him. That was the thing, yeah.
Well, it was Matt's movement, as I pointed out yesterday. It was Matt's movement that did it, because he's made the run into the 6-yard box and then he's stopped. He's seen that Hubichan's gone directly that direction. As the ball's about to cross, he takes 3 steps back and he's got a 5-yard gap between him and Hubichan. It was an easy header. But I was more concerned with, not with Hubichan's defending for that one. Yeah, that was shit. But it was Lang as well who was facing the byline when the ball was crossed. I'm thinking, what are you doing with your body shape? But again, watch the No Choftes podcast, because I did a video analysis of this one and I tore them to bits. But yeah, anyway, I've said my bit. Roy, do you want to add anything?
Okay, man, never mind. I mean, okay.
Let's talk about Ike. Let's not talk about Omonoia. There's no point. I think Ike deserve a lot of praise. I think Sim Tandy was fantastic. I think the central defenders were absolutely brilliant. In the midfield, they bullied us effectively.
I like the left wing and the left back as well. There's a Hungarian guy. He got subbed in the 65th minute. He was really good. He caused a lot of trouble to Sheu the first half. He kept the ball. I don't remember his name.
Gusko.
Yeah. I really like that guy. Okay, we know Triskovsky, we know Matt. So they played really well. They showed that they wanted more. They pressed with 6 men, like Kyri said, and like we said yesterday on the pod, because they knew that the defenders of Omonoia don't feel very comfortable with the ball on their feet, and they wanted to put that pressure because they knew they weren't in a hurry or in a rush. They were moving the ball around. They had possession. They were more passionate. They got 4 players being booked exactly, and I think Omonoia made the first foul in the 18th minute. There was a point where I did like 6 or 7 fouls and Omonoia didn't even try to foul. That shows that, you didn't really want it as much as they wanted to. They did quite well if you bear in mind that they're a team that signed 19 players, and at the beginning, the first game, the opening game, they drew 1-1 with Doxa, which Doxa was with 9 men as well, I think. So no one really expected that, they'd be so good just a few weeks later. They were really good, even though the second half, I think that had we not given the penalty away and if Jonis equalized, it would have been a different game. But, it's never if, it's always if, buts and maybes, and history is not written in this way, and they deserve to win. They deserve to win. We said it yesterday as well. They seem like a serious squad, and they still have players that haven't been introduced, like Thiago. They've got this other Venezuelan guy as well, who's the #1 signing this season. Romo came in as a sub, who was a really good showing from Gagnodissa last year. And I think Ajax is also going to be a very solid team. They're going to go back to being the sympathetic. I don't know if it's the right sympathitiki omada.
For the romantics, right?
Like everyone's second favorite team kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah.
Can I just very quickly say that I found it really interesting that Ajax are basically playing centre forward at number 10 in Matt Derbyshire, which basically becomes a 4-4-2, which usually doesn't work well against a 3-man midfield. Omonia, most often than not, 4-2-3-1. Okay, with some fluidity, obviously. It's difficult to pin these things down on paper exactly as they are, but I was not expecting. Roy said before that Ajax did really well in midfield, which is it's weird with 2 traditional midfielders to go against 3 in Omonia's system. Although Omonia also was like I don't know, like
we're a 4-4-1-1, 4-4-1.
Yeah.
We were missing Kusu, we were missing Mix, so it was Bashiru and Jordi. So they're more they're more gentle. They're not as hard.
That physicality in the middle of the park. They're give and go players. They love their ball players more than anything. But it's still early days, and as Omonia fans, we're obviously not happy about the performance, especially first half. Because second half, the goal that Foddy scored was absolutely brilliant, very incisive play, and that we want to see more of that. And I think that's something that we as Omonia fans, or should I say, we as the club, need to do more, because teams will be defending with a low block against us, and it's down to us to break them down. And if we don't break the lines that players moving into space, then we're going to be in trouble. We spoke to Michael Lufner yesterday, Roy and I, on the phone, and he was saying, teams are going to be defending more stoutly against Omonia, and you can't hold on to the ball for too long, because if you do that, then teams are going to track back and they get men behind the ball, and then you're starting from scratch. You have to recycle, start from. It's tedious and monotonous. But anyway, let's sweep that one under the carpet for now. One final game, which I don't really know. There's too much to discuss with this one because I didn't see too much about it. Was newly promoted Bayek beating Ethnikos 3-1 away, and unsurprisingly, more goalkeeping mistakes from Bokadinov, Kyri.
Yeah, I've spoken my mind there. I'm not a fan. I'm just straight up not a fan of this guy. I mean, it's nothing personal, but I find it very odd that Ethnikos have not replaced him 2 seasons ago or a season ago. I mean, I know there's like the odd heroic display, and he's had some good times with them, and I completely appreciate that, but I think it's definitely for a club that wants to survive, that's the main goal, right? Year after year. So not impressed.
Well, there's still time for them to find someone, isn't there? I think they got till the end of the month to bring in a player on loan. Is that right? They can bring in loans. So there's a few goalkeepers out there that are probably going to be sitting on the bench at this moment in time. There's one out on Omonia who signed from APOEL, who I questioned Uzoho's signing, but I guess. Sell on value, money ball, that kind of stuff. He could be a player to join Ethnikos. You never know. And they got players like Flori, Talmes that can score goals. Elias can score goals. I like Ethnikos, especially last year. I think last season, I don't know what happened to them. They started the season pretty okay, in all fairness. They looked very menacing, threatening, but then they fell off and almost got relegated. So
they're an odd side. Like I said, like those first 20 minutes against Apollon, so audacious, Obviously, that Ilya penalty we discussed about, but
Yeah.
I don't know. They'll need to balance that out with some solidity at the back if they want to stay up this season. But yeah, I mean, like I said about all teams, and I know it sounds like a cop-out at this point, but everyone is still gelling. Everyone is still kind of like gaining fitness.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard about, again, off the record, I guess, kind of thing. I'm not going to mention the club, but one club has already given their players 2 days off. We're in the second official game of the season after an international break, getting 2 days off after the second round. I'm just finding it all very strange, but that's all I'll say up to this point.
Well, a certain manager in England went on holiday for a few days, didn't he? While 19 of his players were training. So, and he got absolutely battered for that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Listen, this is Cyprus, my friend. I think that's the saying that we're going to be hearing a lot more on this podcast. But gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolutely brilliant show again. Kyri, I don't know if you want to promote anything, any social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever.
Yeah, just my, you can find me on Twitter at Nicolau Kyri. It's a complicated name, but if you search for these guys, you'll find me somewhere in there.
There you go. And Roy?
I'm at Roy No Choftes on my Instagram account, and then you can follow my boy Stel at Chase Stel on Instagram.
Thank you very much. And that's it for another episode of This Is Mappa. If you like this show, please hit that like button. It does help the show, it does help the channel. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back next time, which will be, I think, next week, because, yeah, there's more games. Bomba.